I'm Stuart, welcome to the Sports and GT Classic Cars channel and to part 2 of my look at how risky it is selling classic cars at auction with no reserve. If you've not yet watched part 1, click or tap on the link appearing above and I'll see you back here shortly. For those of you who have watched part 1 and are keen to find out how the lots we selected got on at the auction, stay tuned. So let's dive right in and take a look at our chosen no reserve lots from the H&H Classic Motor Cars sale in Buxton on the 27th of November 2024. First up on our list, this gorgeous red 1966 MGB Roadster. And if you remember, there was also another MGB Roadster from the same year in British Racing Green, with a reserve and estimated at £8,000 to £10,000. The red one was hammered down at £8,700, with just over £10,000 including fees. Bidding on the green one went up to £5,000 but then stalled, and this wasn't close enough to the seller's reserve to put in as a provisional bid, so it didn't sell. In this comparison then, a no reserve sale appeared to be the right strategy. The seller would have received just over £8,000 after the entry fee and vendor's premium. Remember that auction houses like this typically charge fees to both the seller and the buyer. Next up, this BMW 628 CSI, which we are comparing to a similar but more powerful manual 635 CSI, with an estimate of £14,000 to £16,000. The 635 attracted an opening bid of £8,000, but nobody else wanted to buy it. The auctioneer put it through as a provisional bid but said it was a long way from the reserve, which was probably around £13,000. However, bidding on the 628 CSI was very keen, with commission bids, internet bidders, telephone bidders as well as in the sale room, and it quickly ratcheted the price up and it got quite exciting. Let's watch how this auction went.
Lots and lots of interest being sold again without reserve. Where do we start? We're going to start with me at £3,800 looking for 4. At 3,800, I'm looking for 4,000. Who's coming in? Shall I sell it? 4,2 with me then, still on the book at 4,2. At 4,002 on the book. At 4,004 I've got on the internet 4,4. 4,6 on the telephone. 4,6 on the telephone. 4,8 internet. 5,000 internet. It's got to be 5,2. 5,2 he's in on the phone at 5,002. 5,4 if you wanted internet. There you are. 5,6. 5,6 he's in, it's a great car, £5,600, 5,8 straight in, nice fast bidding internet, round it up for me. 6,000, thank you very much, 6,000 on the phone, good fast bidding internet, 6,2. 6,4 I'd like. At £6,200 then, it's on the internet at £6,200, 6,4 on the sale room, 6,4 on the sale room, 6,6 I'd like, I'm going to sell it, make no mistake, at £6,400 to the sale room bidder at 6,004. 6,6 he's in at 6,6 just before you, thank you, at 6,006, sorry internet, they just pipped you there on the telephone, straight back in, that's what we like, it's got to be 7. At £6,800, £6,800, I'm going to sell. Make no mistake, at 7, internet's in, 7 on the sale room, 7,2 on the internet, it's all online, at £7,200, at 7,002, are you coming back in sale room, or shall I sell, at £7,200 on the BMW, at 7,4, just at the death there, I'll give you a moment, internet to come back, 7,6 I'd like, at £7,400, last chance everyone, hammers up, once, every time I raise the hammer it seems to get a bid, let's try it again shall we, at 7,600, I'd like 7,8, hammers up, there we go, it works doesn't it, this is good, hopefully it works for all of them, you're in sir, 7,8, 8,000, 8,2's the next bid, you're in at 8,2, front and centre, 8,002, 8,4, 8,6, you're in at 8,6 sir, 8,008, 9,000. £9,000, £9,000, gentlemen seated, at £9,000, internet, where have you gone? At £9,000, room bidder, front and centre, 9,000, hammers up, make no mistake, here to sell, at £9,000. Yours, sir, at £9,000.
So, selling at £9,000 to a bidder in the room who paid £10,350 including fees, and the seller received just shy of £8,500. So this was another lot where going without reserve seemed to be the right approach. So we're 2 for 2. So on to our next lot, the Ford Mustang GT 50th Anniversary Edition. There was no available comparison for this, but standard 2015 model year Mustangs tend to go for between £21,000 and £25,000. Bidding on this special edition Mustang closed at £19,000, which is just under £22,000 including fees, and the seller taking home around £17,700. It's a tough one to call on this without the comparator, but the total price paid was within the range that 2015 Mustangs retail at. I know it was a special edition, but it had also been subject to aftermarket tuning. Sometimes that kind of thing can put buyers off. Or maybe there just weren't enough interested bidders. So let's call this one a draw. So another lot with no comparison, the 1957 Jaguar XK150 Drophead Coupe. Looking at the Haggerty price guide on these, their average valuation for such a car in good condition would be £40,500. The hammer fell on this sale with a bidding at £32,500. That's £37,375 with fees, and the seller would bank just over £30,000. Someone paying over £37,000 for this, in what is currently a rather depressed classic car market, is a good achievement for the auctioneers. But after the fees and charges, £30,000 is probably a little disappointing for the seller. In this case, setting a reserve price might have been worthwhile. Before we continue with the rest of the video, I'd like to take this quick opportunity to ask for your help. As many small YouTube channel creators will tell you, it takes a lot of time and effort to keep making videos, and any money you might get from advertising is likely swallowed up in the cost of equipment. So I do what I do because I enjoy it, and I hope that you enjoy what I do too. Getting likes and comments on a video helps to show me that I'm doing a decent job. Getting new subscribers to the channel means an awful lot more, not just for the vanity of numbers, but because having a bigger audience helps to access more cars and more interesting subject matter, so I can make better and more entertaining videos. You can also show your support to the channel by joining as a member. There are instructions in the description below on how to do this. There are different levels, starting at just 99p a month, and you'll receive recognition and rewards in return, like early access to videos and shout-outs. However you choose to support this channel, watching, liking, commenting, subscribing or joining, thank you very much indeed. Now, back to the video. Our next pick was in fact two, almost identical Wolseley 1500s. It's a grey one from 1961 and a blue one from 1962, both of them listed without reserve. Now the Haggerty price guide for these in good order is £5,700, but as we've seen, classic cars aren't doing as well this year as they have over the past 3 to 4. The grey 1961 car was lot number 1 in the auction and sold for £3,400, a little under 4k with fees, and the seller just taking just over £3,000. Now the blue 1962 car came up much later in the sale. It achieved £2,100, so plus a few hundred in fees, and the seller got a little over £1,800. So neither car came close to the Haggerty valuation, and whilst we don't know if setting a reserve would have helped, the fact that the first car sold achieved £1,500 more than the second does suggest that being scheduled earlier in the sale could help if there are similar cars listed. The next choice was described as a winter project car, a 1971 Triumph Stag, in a rather sorry looking condition. By way of comparison, a 1975 Stag in magenta was guided at £14,000 to £16,000, although we learned that the reserve was lowered further prior to the sale. Despite this, the highest bid on the road-ready Stag was only £6,500, which the auctioneer took as provisional despite being some way away from what the seller wanted. For our project car, the auctioneer managed to coax bidding up to just £400, so that's £700 with fees. You'd think it'd be worth more than that in spares, but such cars get sold as donor cars for another project, or they're broken for spares, or maybe someone was indeed looking for something to do over the winter. Although the seller would probably only get around £200, the car's gone from their driveway or garage, they no longer have any costs associated with getting it back on the road or having it taken away. Time for our penultimate pick, the white 1996 Jaguar XJ6, re-imported from Japan and compared to a maroon home market car from the same year, which seemed rather overestimated at £6,000 to £8,000. The repatriated white car sold for £1,900, £2,200 with fees, and just over 1.6k to the seller, whereas the maroon car achieved a final bid of £3,400, which would be 3.9k with fees, and around 3k for the seller. This was taken as a provisional bid, and looking through the classifieds, £3,000 to £5,000 seems about the right money for one of these. Assuming the seller accepted the provisional bid, I'd say that setting a reserve got them a bit more money, although the home market car came up much earlier in the sale than the Japanese one. Our final choice was this 1967 Bentley T1, with no comparison car, but with a Haggerty average valuation of just over £11,000. Now sadly, this lot was withdrawn due to flooding near the seller's home, which meant that he couldn't get the car to auction, and it'll instead be consigned to their late winter sale in February. So can we draw any conclusions from our little test? Possibly. I think for 3 of our cars, so the MGB Roadster, the BMW 628 CSI and the Triumph Stag, going with no reserve was the right thing to do. For the 2 Jaguars, the XK150 and the XJ6, it seemed that both could have achieved more, or maybe lost less, if the reserve price had been set. For the Ford Mustang and the 2 Wolseley 1500s, it's inconclusive. All achieved reasonable prices, given the current state of the market, but who knows where they would have been with a reserve. One thing that does stand out though, is that being scheduled near the beginning into the sale seems to boost prices a little. Whatever the outcomes, a classic car auction is always fun to witness, whether you're watching online or better still in the sale room. Having watched this video, if you were selling your car, how would you do it? Tell us in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Please give this video a like and subscribe or join to see more videos from sports and GT classic cars. See you next time. Bye bye.